I kid you not. No sooner do I get done uploading an analysis on the seraphic nature of evil, and we see this. In true supervillain fashion, lockdown proponent Bill Gates quietly funding plan to dim the sun's rays. He's actually planning to block out the sun. A project conducted by Harvard University scientists and funded largely by Microsoft founder Bill Gates to test sun-dimming technology to cool global warming is quietly moving forward in Sweden. Oh my God. Isn't it something that we've missed every target date of every supposed catastrophe these scientists have predicted? We know what you're thinking. This can't be real. But it is. Reuters reports that Harvard project plans to test out a controversial theory that global warming can be stopped by spraying particles into the atmosphere that would reflect the sun's rays. How about the controversial theory that global warming is actually real? In Sweden, plans to fly a test balloon next year are already underway. The test balloon will not release any particles into the atmosphere, but could be a step towards an experiment, perhaps in the autumn of 2021 or spring of 2022. Those experiments may see up to 2 kilograms of non-toxic calcium carbonate dust released into the atmosphere. So the issue is we have CO2 in the atmosphere, and the solution is to release more pollution into the atmosphere. You can see tweet from The Blaze. Controversial Bill Gates funded plan to dim the sun's rays moves quietly forward. Yeah, you're full of good ideas there, aren't you? Couldn't you get into something like bodybuilding if you have to be extreme? Bill Gates' plan to dim the sun is a bad idea, I'll say. Bill Gates is living proof that just because you once did something very smart to make your mark on the world, it doesn't necessarily make you a smart person. Yeah, intelligence and wisdom, I guess. Having the gall to play God by dimming the sun's rays and thinking it won't lead to drastic and unpredictable problems makes that case rather obvious. And it's not playing God. If you watch my latest video, you'll see the 3 levels of evil. You start at the Luciferic, the self-indulgence, move on to the Aramanic, which is the institutionalized evil, and then once you realize that power doesn't bring you any more happiness than pleasure, you move to the suicidal, the self-destructive. He's at the seraphic level, and he's got the power, he's got the money, and apparently nobody around him to say, stop. For the love of God. And think about the unintended consequences for a second. If we've all seen Jurassic Park, right? What could go wrong with blocking out the sun? It'll just turn down the temperature. If you've seen my video on what is global greening, you'll understand that the world has never been healthier. We have the most green matter growing on Earth than we've had in 500 years. And what does green matter do? Green matter? It absorbs CO2. It's a self-balancing system if you don't interfere with it. Reuters notes the project called Stratospheric Controlled Perturbation Experiment, Scopex, I guess it's the cool acronym they're going for, is playing with something potentially large and hard to predict risks, such as shift in global rain patterns. Oh yeah, all the things we were warned of global warming was going to cause, Bill Gates is just going to cause in his seraphic madness, his self-destructive demonic madness. There is no merit in this test except to enable the next step, said Nicholas Hellstrom, director of the Swedish green think tank What Next? He added, you can't test the trigger of a bomb and say, this can't possibly do any harm. That sounds like quite the warning. Do you know that Bill Gates is one of the sponsors of Scopex, an engineering attempt to block the sun through spraying sulfur aerosols in the atmosphere? Isn't that kind of like when Mount St. Helens erupted and it blocked out the sun? I mean, in what world is this a good idea? Maybe we should put this to a vote if we're a democracy. One of the pushers of solar and geoengineering by stratospheric injections. He's always Bill Gates with his injections, of sulfur aerosols is David Keith, a professor of applied physics at Harvard. Here's a recent talk about his crazy ideas. What will happen with his idea if CO2 wasn't driving climate? Or, can I say, if the models are wrong? Just last year now, in 2020, there was a report sent to the UN that stated all of the estimates for global population by 2100 are wrong. They've revised the estimates for population growth. Instead of ballooning up to something like 13 billion, they're now expecting human population by 2100 to drop from current levels down to 7 billion. Do you have any idea what that's going to do with the amount of carbon we put into the air? It's going to drive it down dramatically. Do you have any idea how badly that screws up all the climate models that are predicting almost twice as many human beings on Earth? Oh, it's going to drive it down dramatically. The models are dramatically wrong. The UN learned this at least as late as this year. Global populations are set to drop. That will drop CO2. Our technology is also getting better. That will drop CO2. You don't want to block out the sun. And they add, Gates says life after COVID won't return to normal until 2022. Social engineering fan Bill Gates made news earlier this month when he wanted to figuratively dim the sun on society by suggesting pandemic lockdowns could and should be extended. The tech nerd expressed support for shutting down bars and restaurants. Yeah, because he just lives off his savings for up to an additional 6 months. What's her name? Melinda Gates, his wife. She came out and she said, we didn't think about the economic impact. And it's like, yeah, of course you didn't. You're billionaires. A lot of us, if we quit getting our paychecks, we quit having money for life. We paying bills, mortgages, food. We got to go to work, man. And this is the madness. This is just pure self-destructive madness. The only way you can understand this is through the lens of evil. And this is why it pays to watch videos like the one I just uploaded. So he's Bill Gates on COVID, even through 2022, we should be prepared for life to not return to normal. They never plan on letting it go. They've got power. They've got control. You've got your slave mask on. We're never going back. Bill Gates continues, says it's sadly appropriate for bars and restaurants to close over the next 4 to 6 months. Is it because the girls would never talk to you at the bar? Is this just pure bitter spite? Seriously, man. Certainly by the summer, we will, I guess, be way closer to normal than we are now. But even through early 2022, unless we help other countries get rid of this disease and get high vaccination rates, yeah. Oh, the guy that got kicked out of India for this very thing. Unless we get high vaccination rates in our own country, the risk of reintroduction will be there. Yeah, the disease that's less deadly than the flu. Gates warned, CNN anchor Jake Tapper. Many Americans have shown they aren't willing to continue with the lockdown charade. We're not sure how many will be thrilled with Gates being the ruler of the sun either. A true villain. This is the look of evil. And he's not here to help. He's only here to destroy.